thing I've noticed in the marketplace is a lot of people asking about metrics and like what matters and what doesn't matter. So I can share a bit of insight there, at least from my experience, and pass that along to everybody else. But I think one of the main things I've seen, every investor always cares about your LTV to CAC, and so when you're looking at your marketplace and trying to understand, what metrics to really zero in on, I think looking at that lifetime value and customer acquisition cost are really important, because if you can get a really high ratio there, 2 to 1 or 3 to 1, it's going to be really interesting to investors. A lot of different ways you can do that. Obviously, with higher AOV marketplaces, that's harder. But with lower ones, it becomes more of a exercise in life cycle marketing and reactivating your customers, getting them to repeat. And then I guess on the customer acquisition cost side, just focusing on organic early on, I think is really important. A lot of people will start paying for traffic. I see it. I don't know if you guys watch like The Profit and Shark Tank and all this stuff, but I always look at the companies afterwards, and a lot of them are firmly grounded in like social marketing, paid marketing, performance marketing, and then I check on them 6 months later and they're not there anymore. And I think a lot of times people get into that loop and will pay for traffic, and they never focus strategically on organic channels early on, and then the company scales and grows, and then they have to figure out how to pivot. And I know at VRBO that was a big focus. They were a listing site for a long time. They paid for a lot of traffic, and then all of a sudden Expedia bought them, and they pushed a lot of rigor towards them. And one of the big focuses there was on organic channels and growth there. So I'll pass that on. I think it's really important when you guys are starting out to focus on that, because if that's your goal, to have a high LTV to CAC ratio from when you're starting out, it'll make funding and stuff a lot easier further down the road. And I think too, just being mindful of your conversion metrics along the way and contribution margin metrics. Those are all kind of a basket of metrics that are intimately linked and tied together, but just keeping your contribution margin in a good spot and driving your conversion rate up, every step of the way, that'll all have an impact on your LTV to CAC ratio as well. So anyways, I just wanted to pass that along. I've seen a lot of questions about it, and I think it's really important, and probably something that a lot of people don't think of immediately. You're thinking more about conversion and just traffic growth, but making sure that you're doing it the right way is going to set you up for a lot more success later on.